Hello, I'm Basharat, student ID 1470895. So today I'm going to demonstrate 5 tasks performed by Nagios 11. So first of all, you can see that I have already downloaded Ubuntu and Nagios 11 into the virtual machine. And first we'll go to the Nagios. First we'll go to the Ubuntu and go to Safari, and then go to the Nagios 11 website, and then go to access Nagios 11. And first task we're going to do is monitoring website URLs in Nagios. So what I do is I go to configure and press configuration wizards. Next I will filter by the website category, click I will put website URL, go to website URL, and then we will enter a URL of a website that we could like to monitor. I like the example.com, so press next. So you can include a service name prefix. This is a description of what that is. You can alter the IP address if necessary. You can use SSL, and you can change the default port, and also these are the credentials. If necessary, then you can monitor either the URL status or the URL content or both. So in this case I'll monitor the URL status and the URL content only. I'll monitor the content for the string example as example. So it's going to look example.com, and for this string on that web page, it's also the status is just going to tell me whether or not the web page is actually up. So I'll press the next button. For the sake of time, let's press finish. Now it will apply the configuration and generate the host and all of its services. We'll go to the search menu and type example. Go to example.com, scroll over, and you can see that the URL content has come back with an up response, which means that there is the word example on example.com, and status has come back with up as well, which means the web page is up and operating properly. And that's how you monitor website URLs. So next we're going to do is monitoring DNS queries with Nagios 11. So monitoring a DNS query in Nagios 11 is a quite simple process. First we'll go to configure and click on configuration wizards, and what we can do is use the search box and type in DNS and select the DNS query wizard, and we'll enter the FQDN, which is a fully qualified domain name of the website that we like to monitor, which is nagios.com. Then press next, and we have a couple of options. You can see the IP address of nagios.com is resolved. We can choose a DNS server to use for this resolution, specify whether or not it's authoritative, and also select a couple of DNS query services. The first one is DNS resolution, which will resolve nagios.com into an IP address. The next one is DNS IP match, which ensures that the IP address that nagios.com resolves into is always the same IP address. This can help prevent certain types of attacks. Then let's press next, and for the sake of time we'll press finish. So the configuration is going to apply, and now we'll reload, and now we can type in the search box our host name, which is nagios.com. Then you will see the host pop up, and you will see two new services Uh, so those are the two services we check. First we'll go to DNS resolution, and let's give a force and immediate check here, just to make sure that our DNS resolution for the nagios.com works appropriately. The service check will come back with some status, which is DNS is OK, and then click the blue leaflet and go to back and do the necessary for the DNS IP match as well. Yeah, so we can see the status is OK. So that's how you monitor the DNS queries with Nagios 11. So next we're going to the next task we're going to do is monitoring an FTP server in Nagios 11. So first what we're going to do is go to configure and configure wizards, and then let's type FTP in search. Yeah, go to FTP server, then it will ask us for the IP address. So let's provide a random IP address, for an example 172.20.10.11, and press next. So then we can assign the server a friendly name if you like. Then we get to assign some services to attach to our host. So the first server is an FTP server. The service just tells us whether or not the FTP server is up and running, and you can specify a custom port, and you can tell it whether to use SSL. You can also have it do a file transfer. So select and enter a username and password, and now Nagios will actually log into the server, make a test file and delete the test file on port 21, and we'll let you know the result. So I will do that transfer check as well. So let's go to next, and for the sake of time let's press finish. Once this is applied successfully, we can go ahead and search for our new server, which is 172.20.10.11, and we can see that the status is critical uh, because we have given a random IP address. So we don't actually need to force the immediate check. So let's go to back, and so this is how you monitor an FTP server in Nagios 11. So next we're going to do is the next task is accessing and utilizing config management. So I'm going to show you how to access and utilize the core config manager in Nagios. So first thing, we go to config tab and click more config manager. You will be core config manager. So let's go to config and go to core config manager. You will be confronted with a list of many of the objects configured in your system host, which are host services and host group, service group, and etc. These are very common, especially if you have a background in Nagios core. Next is so if we click on services, you get a list of services that are doing checks on your system, and if you click on host, you get a list of hosts doing checks on your system. So if you want to change anything about any of these hosts or services, what we have to do is, for example, let's change service. For instance, in services, go to any site or IP address, and we can see that we have the config name, we have the description, and then we have the check and alert settings. So, and then we'll go to check settings in the next tab and change this check from every 5 minutes to every 30 minutes, because we really don't need to check the disk that often. Then we'll hit the save. Now yes, the exile lets us know that an apply configuration must be run for new changes to take effect. Now what this means is the core config manager is more of a staging environment than a real-time environment. So when you make changes in the core config manager, they don't actually apply until until you apply configuration. So after you're done making all the changes that you like to make, click apply configuration in the left corner and then click the apply configuration button, and then Nagios 11 will take all the changes that you have made and push them out and make them live. And that's how you access and utilize core config manager at a basic level. So the final task I'm going to do is cloning users in Nagios 11. Uh, this can be useful if you have a user with particular privileges, say database administrative user or an Apache, administrator, and you would like to make another use account with same privileges, but you would like that the user account to be created simply. So you can just clone it out of an existing template of user effectively. So first thing we have to do is go to admin and go to manage users, and uh, what we do is add a new user, and let's create a username and give a password, and let's repeat the password again, and we can give a name and email address and a phone number. Yeah, and after we put the phone number, just put enter and don't save. So we can see that we have created a host here. So what we are going to do is we're going to clone this host. We go to clone in the right corner and give a new name, which is testing 123. Sorry, testing 123, and use your password. Repeat the password and give a name and email. And what we have to do is we have to click the clone user button. So we can see testing 123, which is a clone of the host bash. So next, to verify the test clone user, I'm going to hit the edit button and verify the permissions are similar to the first user. The first user has this box clicked, but it's not clicked here, so that's successfully done. So hopefully this gives you just a good idea of how to minimize the time it will take you to make a new user with an already established set of privileges. So that is how you can clone users in Nagios. So today I showed you some tasks. uh, I showed you 5 tasks that can be performed by uh, Nagios 11. So as a summary, I have demonstrated 5 tasks, which are monitoring websites URLs, monitoring DNS queries, monitoring an FTP server in Nagios 11, accessing and utilizing core config manager, and cloning users. So I hope you understood my presentation, and thank you very much for listening for me.